am really excited to introduce you to the mistress of connection. Is that a term? It sounds not wrong and dirty. No, it's not dirty. Let's start again. Okay. Not only is Selena Soo a dear friend, she's also someone who is a master at connecting the right people. Anyone can connect one asshole with another, right? But she connects the right person. And that is so, so awesome. She's also the creator of Impacting Millions, a program that I also took. And I think she is one of those people who's just kind of mastered this fine art of not only getting publicity, connecting with influencers, but also doing it in a way that is not sleazy, not whiny, not coming across as desperate. So thank you so much, Selena, for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here.
And what is exciting for me is that today we're not talking about publicity. Today we're not talking as much about connection. Today we're talking about a topic that is so, so, so crucial to your success, no matter what you are doing, no matter what you're launching. I launched a podcast. I know how important this is. I launched a book that you hear all about. And I know how important reviews are. And today she's going to tell us how to craft the perfect ask to get your first 100 reviews. And I am dying to know this because I did trial and error. Trial and error is my religion. I used trial and error to craft my ask, but I want to hear from you how to craft the perfect ask to actually get your first 100 reviews, even if no one knows you, even if you think that you are a bloody nobody. So the first thing is, if you see us and hear us, you have to let us know in the comments because I don't want to keep talking to myself if I don't know that people are here. Hey, Nicole. Hey, darling. Hello, Suraya. Hi, everyone. Okay, people are joining and they tell me it sounds really filthy when I said the mistress, but it is, okay. And I am also going to go on and share this. Darlings, please share this broadcast because this will be jam-packed. If you are familiar with Selena's work, you should know that she does not fart around, unlike me. So this will be awesome. Please join us. Okay, excellent. Okay, let's do this, Selena. I want to start with asking an uncomfortable question. I love making people uncomfortable. So you see a lot of people trying to kind of get the reviews. It's like everyone is starting a podcast nowadays. Everyone is writing a book nowadays. And I'm sure you also receive a lot of emails and requests for review, leave a review. Could you leave a review?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that you see people making when they ask for a review?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest mistake high level is that they're not putting themselves in the other person's shoes. It's kind of like this one-way thing where like they just send this like super duper long copy and paste email where it's like hard to even digest like what the person is saying. And they just make it so difficult for the other person to help. So it's just like, I've got this book coming out and then it's like 3 paragraphs about the book and then like, will you write a review? And it's kind of like, you have to think about like, well, what are you really asking, and like, are you making this easy or difficult for the person? Because someone may have a 300-page book and you're saying, hey, can you go find my book, buy it, read it, and then find a way to summarize it and write a review? Like, that's a difficult ask. That's a big request of someone's time. And so you have to, make it easier. And, these long emails just don't work anymore. Or maybe they probably never worked, but definitely not today.
Okay, I love that. I am guilty of that. I love talking, and I feel like I feel like my words matter, and I'm sure we all do, right?
Yeah.
So we want to put in as much as we can. We want to squeeze every last bit of pixel out of that email because we feel like that gets the most bang for our buck. But I understand your point. What you're saying is that it shows disrespect to the other person.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily disrespect. It's just people are going to tune it out. And I mean, the thing is, I've been guilty of these things too. So this is a bit different from reviews, but I have this event coming up with a bunch of influencers in Vegas. And there were some emails that I sent out that were like, kind of more like kind of mass email style. And like, I worked really hard on it. I made the copy like really clever, but then I'm like, I'm not getting the response that I usually get. And then I realized, you know what? I don't need to write like X number of paragraphs. I just need like something just very short and brief that's more personal, and that's what's going to get people to respond. So it's like, I know this stuff, but sometimes like in the moment of things, like I get it, we just kind of forget to put ourselves in that other person's shoes.
Okay. Okay. This makes more sense. And do you think that it is? But on the flip side, my fear is, as someone who's making an ask, my fear is that if it is too short, it might come across as too blunt, or
No.
as if I don't care.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so with the email, like you have to think about it as a conversation, right? So you don't have to include everything in the original email. The ideal situation, short, so that they actually have a question and there can be like a little bit of back and forth.
I love that. Oh my God. So I want to build on that and I want to repeat that point because I think it's so genius. So when you make an ask about anything, really, not just the reviews, the first email should be the start of a conversation. It should not be your entire, which is so great, because once you have the conversation going, the other benefit is that it could be a foot in the door, right? So even if they say no, you can come back with something else because you already have a conversation going. Genius. I love that. Oh my God.
Like you want there to be almost like this open loop where they're like, they have to ask more information, right? That creates engagement.
Oh my God, this is awesome. Okay. And how do you do that? So now that we know what not to do, how do you craft the perfect ask? So I am someone who just started out, or maybe I have an audience, but people tell me that the first 100 reviews are the hardest. It's virtually impossible to get 100 reviews. It's kind of one of those things that everyone aspires to, but no one feels like they can actually get. So if you are going to email out to people, first of all, who should you be emailing? That's a question from you.
Yeah.
And then what is the sequence of that ask? And then obviously the next question is what goes in the ask, but what is the sequence that you recommend?
Yeah, so you definitely want to create a list of people that you want to reach out to. And I think it's always great to start with low-hanging fruit first, because that's kind of the way that you build your confidence. As people say yes, you feel more comfortable about reaching out. And I found with myself, even when I think I've drafted like the perfect email, as I start sending it to more and more people, like maybe the next day I'll get an idea. Ooh, I could tweak this, or this could be better. And so you don't want to like ask the most important people on day one where you're still like potentially fine tuning some of that communication. So in terms of just like breaking down the email, like, so high level, you want to be like, well, okay, I guess subject line. And so, you don't want it to sound like this is a newsletter or something. So I usually say like, hi plus question for you, or hi plus something I'm excited to share with you, or whatever. What would feel kind of authentic and more conversational to the person you're reaching out to. And then with the email, every email, I always start with like a personal touch, because it's not just about me, it's about my connection to that person. So it might be like, hi, Mike, it was so great to see you in the city last week. Or hi, Mike, I've been loving your, photos on Facebook from your most recent vacation. But just something really short and personal that shows like I'm paying attention to you as a person. I care about you. And then you want to share your excitement and just briefly share, what you want to ask them for. So it's like, I'm really excited to be launching this new book. This has been like a passion project. I mean, this book has been 7 years in the making, or it might be like, given what's happening in the world today, I feel like this message around XYZ is especially important. But something for like why this matters and why this is meaningful. And then say like, I admire you, so much, and it would mean the world to me to get an endorsement from you for the book, whether it's an endorsement, a review on Amazon, fill in the blank for what your purpose is. And then I would say something like, and this is showing respect, I know that you're an exceptionally busy person, so I would like to make this as easy as possible for you, if you're willing to consider this. And then I would just say something like, I'm happy to share some examples of sample reviews, or, share more details of what I'm looking for to make this really easy for you. And then you're not like, so then they have to kind of like respond and be like, oh, I would love to see the samples, or I'd love to get some ideas. And the other thing I also meant to add in is you want to say like, it depends on the person, but a lot of times, like if it's an influencer or just whoever, you might only need like a few sentences. I know when I was collecting testimonials for my new website that's coming out in a couple of months, I would tell people like, I was wondering if you would be willing to share a sentence or two. Right? So that doesn't feel intimidating versus like, I need you to write 7 paragraphs about my book. So like, oh, wonder if you could share a sentence or two about my new book. I can make it super simple for you. There's all these ways I can kind of just like set it up for you. And so I did this recently with my website, and Some people responded like you, thank you so much, and just said, here, I've got like this testimonial, it was done. And you're like a quick, fast writer. And there's other people that were like, oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I would love to get an idea of like more of what you need from me or see some samples and that kind of thing. So I really, for those people, I handed it over to them on a silver platter.
Mm-hmm. I am loving this. I am just going to kind of break it down because first I need a clarifying question. So I have first clarifying question, which I think is genius. I think what you said about don't open the email with you. But you also said, which is again, if you're even halfway decent human being, you know that you should not be opening an email with you. But you also said something really interesting where you didn't even tell them to open the email with them. Instead, you said that you should open the email with the point of connection. I think this bears repetition. It is genius because you are opening the email with a point of connection. Now, whether you met them or you've been watching them or you've seen them or they shared something, there has to be a common point of connection. What if, Selena, that's a kind of a further explanation on the question. What if there is no point of connection? What if you're reaching out to someone who might not consciously remember you, or you don't have a prior relationship with them? They're not you're not at the top of their brain for some reason. Should they even make the ask? Or do you think they should not even email someone like that?
I mean, that's a really good question. And it depends on what you're asking for. It's like, are you asking, if you're reaching out to someone that you admire, but they have zero familiarity with your work and you're asking them to endorse your book, like you can kind of see like that might not be, the most appropriate ask. So it really depends on the situation. The other thing is like, I find that people are a little bit indiscriminate with their asks. So like, for example, I'm going to kind of change some of the details so I'm not identifying who this person is. But like there was this woman I knew and she lived, I'm going to say Austin, Texas. And she reached out to me and it was like a mass email. And she was saying like, Selena, I'm doing an event, around, health coaching or healthy lifestyles in Austin, Texas. Would love for you to spread the word about this event. And, I'm kind of weird. I tend to be the person who writes back to people like nicely about things. But I was like, okay, first of all, like, I don't live in Austin, Texas, and I don't really know people. So why would I, spread the word about that? And it's also not connected to the work I do. It's not like, like, oh, you love my stuff and you should check out this like healthy eating event, right? And then the other thing is like, when you think about me and how I can help people, like I love to help people make valuable connections that can lead to all sorts of things from, $50,000 in funding from a stranger to massive media coverage to new partnerships and collaborations. So is it really the best use of my time to try to get one or two people to come to like your healthy eating event in Austin, Texas? And how difficult is that going to be for me? You know what I mean? So there's like a million things about it that were like a little bit off. And I think a lot of us are listening to this saying like, oh, I would never do that. But the thing is like a lot of us actually do that sometimes, or even, I talk a lot about publicity, Bushra, as you know, and I see people like maybe reaching out to me and saying, hey, can you, comment on my article on the Huffington Post? And I do teach that you should, ask people to leave comments. But if I'm like your teacher in the course and I've got, hundreds of students, I can't leave a comment on everyone's, thing. And it's just like, and like the amount of energy that it would take me to do that, like that could be transferred to something else. So it's just, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes and maybe like run it by a friend. Sometimes it's hard for us to have that perspective by ourselves, but is this ask appropriate? Sometimes it is, and we need to push ourselves, but sometimes it really isn't.
So here's my question, which I'm really curious to know, even though you're such a Miss Goody Two-Shoes, I probably already know the answer to this, but don't you lie to my face. When someone sends you, that Austin, Texas woman, when she sent you that email, did you drop a few F-bombs with your team about her? Please tell me you did, because this is what I Tara and do all day. Like, what the fuck? Why did she send me this?
Yeah, no, in my head, I was like, yeah, basically what you're saying. Like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I don't even know where to begin. Like,
I'm so delighted.
Yeah.
Because, and again, is that, so the question is, based on that, is that the kind of relationship that you want to start with, So I receive a lot of emails where honestly, even if, what the hell is this? Why do I have mosquitoes in my closet? Okay. So I receive a few emails where it's such a nice email that even saying no is hard for me. And even when I do say no, I still feel like I'm closer to that person, right? So, so not only should your objective be to get a yes, but your objective should also be to leave that person with a good feeling about you, right? I think that's something that we should also try and focus on for once.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another thing when making asks, and this is just speaking more generally versus just testimonials, but I think that, you want to give people an easy out. So you may say something like, start obviously with the personal note and the meaningful connection at the beginning, but then say like, hey, I just wanted to run an idea by you. I was thinking about X, Y, Z, wondering about what you think, like, or if if it would be a fit. One thing, I was talking to someone who is like a master at affiliate marketing, and he was saying one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they say like, this would be a perfect fit, or I think this would be a perfect fit for your audience. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you actually have no idea. Like as a business owner, I know what's a perfect fit for my audience. So you have to be like careful about that. But it's more like, I just want to run this idea by you, see if you felt like there would be a synergy. I always do that because I like never want to make people uncomfortable. And even with like when we're making an ask, like you almost, with every interaction, you want to kind of deepen and build the relationship. And so even if someone says no to you, if you run an idea by someone in a respectful way, it's like you're still building that connection.
And okay, guilty as charged. So one of the mistakes that I probably make all the time is I do my research on their audience. I do my research on the kind of content that they share. And then based on that, I would actually include that statement. Based on what I've seen, it seems like a good fit for your audience. But you are right. We should be a little bit careful in using that line because even though the Austin, Texas woman, she could have just said, you seem like a skinny bitch. I'm sure you're interested in nutrition coaching.
Yeah.
She could have said that. I didn't mean to call you a bitch, but every woman who's skinny is in my head. That's what I call them. So
yeah. Oh, and by the way, Bushra, I wrote down like a bunch of ideas of things that I wanted to share related to this topic. So I know that, you like to keep these interviews succinct. So hopefully we can get to some of my points.
Well, I'm waiting for the points. Okay, let's go to the points. I want to see. Okay, guys, have the question. Do we have any? Okay. If you have any questions, please drop them, but I want to go one by one to Selena's points. Okay, excellent. Let's do this.
Okay, cool. So, you were saying like, with this interview, we want to teach people how to get, their first 100, reviews, whether it's podcast, book, or something else, or maybe it's just like dozens of testimonials for your new website. So, and I love when you said 100 reviews, because I think that we need to set a goal. Maybe someone else's goal is 20. That's fine. But when you're reaching out to people, I think it's powerful to say things like, I've just launched my, new podcast. My book has just been released this week, which has been a labor and love, for several years. And my goal is to get 100 reviews this week. And it would mean the world to me if you could help me reach that goal. We're at, 92 right now. And just with a couple more reviews, we could get there. So that really, makes people feel like, ooh, I could really play a part. This is something specific that I can wrap my head around. Melissa Griffin, who some people may know, she's got a podcast called Pursuit with Purpose. What she did is she had like a goal in her mind for the number of reviews that she wanted to get. And she also, this is an additional thing, but she incentivized people. And so she said like, for every review that I get, like up until this point, I'm going to donate $5 to the nonprofit She's the First that I really believe in. So that's really powerful. It's kind of like gamifying it, right? And incentivizing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that is, really it's what we talked about before is like, just make it super easy for people. So I can share a story around this, which has actually a bunch of different teaching points. So at one point I was in Ryan Levesque's mastermind. This was a couple years ago, and he had a book coming out. And I knew that, this was very important for him to get as many Amazon reviews as quickly as possible to boost book sales. And so I ended up writing the first review. I was like, stayed up until 3 a.m. New York time, which is midnight in the West Coast when, the reviews kind of open up. And then what I did is I worked with Ryan's team to kind of create this like guide that would help other people write their reviews. And then being in his mastermind group, I circled back to everyone. I said, hey, everyone, like, we had this like Google group, like Ryan's book is launching this week. And, it's really, he's put so much hard work into it. And this is a time that we can really step up and support him. I've left my review over here. Here's a guidebook on, just like some basic points on how you can write your review and some examples. When you write your review.
Yes, I love that idea.
Yeah, it's like when you write your review, like let us know in the group. And so it's like people are being recognized by Ryan and me and everyone else, like when they show up and support him. And sometimes, for the author, it's kind of hard to be like, hey, look at me, look at me. But if you're like, you have some other ambassadors, super fans, friends and colleagues supporting you, it becomes easier.
This is such actually it was 2 tips rolled into one. I love both tips. So it's definitely, instead of just saying, leave a review, I think it makes sense to encourage people who actually already left a review and then encourage them to do the same and tell others that I just left a review, I would love for you to do the same. And also the guidebook. Oh my God. I love points. I love these ideas.
Yeah,
okay.
Actually, our friend Farnoosh also created an amazing guidebook. I helped her with that when I was working with her on her book launch. And so, the big picture idea around this is like, most people aren't going to read a 300-page book, but they may read a 10-page document. So it was something where it was like a summary of the book, when she makes more. And then, a couple of sentences about what's covered in each chapter. And then we had an outline for how to write reviews. For example, you could say, I love the story that Farnoosh shared in chapter 3 about X, or, as a, female entrepreneur, I think this point is very important. So we set up a bunch of kind of review structures that people could use to kind of get their wheels turning.
I love this. Okay. Do you know of any, your recommendation is to include a summary of the book, a short chapter summary, and then a few review structures. I think this is genius. Oh my God. People, please let me know in the comments if you are as blown over by this tip, because I never thought of doing this. And I think this is bloody genius. This idea of making it super easy, super simple. So we talk about swipe files and templates and plug and play and copy and paste. This is really the best use of giving them kind of a plug and play template, right? Because most people, they don't want to be faced with a blank screen. They want to give you a review, but they're like, okay, where do I even start? And this is so genius. Oh my God, I love this. Please continue on, because I can't wait for you to share the other tips. This is awesome.
I'm trying to think if I have any others. I mean, these are like the main things.
And here's my question. What is your opinion on review copies? So that's a question I had for you while you were talking. What is your opinion of sharing review copies with people?
With a book, you mean? So like
whether it's a book or maybe kind of like an early access. So the podcast is coming out in say 2 weeks or 1 week. You share with them 3 or 4 or 5 episodes beforehand, because I want to test it out. I haven't tested it out, but I was reading a book. And again, I like to implement what I read in a book from a psychological perspective. It gives them that feeling of, okay, I'm special. I got access to this thing early. So that early access thing, I had that I felt that with Ramit's book. So when Ramit released his ebook, I received a review copy before it was on Amazon, right? So I had someone I was like, this is really genius. What has been your experience, or what would be your pointers on if someone wants to do that?
Yeah, I definitely have my thoughts around it. So I think when we're trying to figure out like review strategy, or really like how do we persuade people to do something, we want to look at the extremes. So like, the person that has absolutely no time is not going to get to it. Like, how do we make it easy for them? And so, I mean, I think everybody knows, like, I'm Ramit's biggest super fan. I've taken literally actually over 10 of his different programs at this point. So it's like, if he releases something, I like the topic, I don't even read the sales page. Like, I buy it. So I'm a huge Ramit fan. And I love, when he sent out the book and stuff like that, I was excited, but I didn't actually read the book. And, and I'm just sharing this for kind of educational purposes, even though I try to jump on, everything of Ramit's and I want to support him. But, like at the time I was really busy in my business. I was like, okay, this is so many pages. I downloaded the book and I started to read a couple of, pages, and then I got distracted by something. And then I like tried to go back to it, I never got to it. So I think I'm not the only person who is in this kind of situation. So I mean, if I was in, if I had a book and I really wanted certain people to give reviews, I mean, there's a couple of things I would do. I would say something like, I would send an email, like let's say I'm emailing you, Bushra. I'll say, hey, Bushra, I'm so excited. My new book is coming out and I want you to get the first peek. Like, I respect your opinion so much. And, it mean the world for you to just like take a look and check it out. Like, I know you're really busy. So, I'll also kind of share like some chapter summaries with you that you can also skim through. But I do want to send you like a full copy of the book, so you just have it at your disposal. What works best for you? Would you like a paperback copy or would you like a digital version? So I'm gauging back and forth. You're telling me what you want.
Oh God, this is again genius. What did you eat today, Selena? This is the best tip ever. Okay, I love that, because again, dumping a book on someone instead of just dumping a book, which again, it's not necessarily dumping, but again, it goes back to the point that you were making. Instead of assuming that they will have to read, you're actually going to the other extreme, and you're assuming that they will be interested in the topic, but they might not have the time. And making it easy, and then starting a conversation. This is brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, and it's all about also these like micro commitments, so like agreeing, and they're telling you how they want it delivered. Okay. So then they're like, okay, I want the ebook, you get it over to them, or I want the physical book. If you're sending a physical book, what I would do is I would like flag certain chapters or certain paragraphs or sections or stories that are most interesting. So I would send it with a bunch of those little like, sticky things sticking out, and like with a like personal handwritten note, like, so excited you're checking out the book, follow the little stickies for like the Cliff Note version, or for like the stuff that I think you would find most interesting, like smiley face. If it was digital, and you could do this with print too, but I love making voice memos. I'm just like a voice memo girl. And so I'll just kind of turn on QuickTime and be like, hey, Bushra, so excited that you're going to check out the audiobook. Like, just quick, what would I say? So say you're looking to check it out. No, you're so busy. So just want you to know, like, for you, I think that you would really love chapter 3, because I talk about XYZ, which is kind of connected to what you do. And there's there's this crazy story that I tell about X, but like leave an open loop. So like, if you have no time, if you only have like 10 minutes, like check out like the first 5 pages of that chapter.
This is genius. Oh my God. Selena, I am blown away by this session, and I am not ashamed to admit that I have not used any one of these tips. Okay, no, I probably used a few, but I am totally using all of these other tips. I think this is one of the most interesting sessions for me, because you gave me a lot of things that I had not heard of before, and I did not look at those things from that perspective. So the reason people call you a master connector is because, honestly, I think if I were to sum up your entire approach in one sentence, I think that would be the personal touch, right? And I think that's what it boils down to. Don't you agree? This whole idea, if I feel like one of the masses, it's not worth it, right?
No. Yeah, people are not going to pay attention because they receive copy and paste emails all day long, mass emails, like whatever. But if you even add, I know it takes extra effort, but one sentence in the beginning to personalize or shorten the email, and like, have a little bit of back and forth, like, that gets you from like 100 no's to 100 yeses. Like, it can change everything.
Yes. Oh my God, this was amazing. People, if you found it as amazing as I did, because I totally did, got my next book. Those of you who are watching, if you're on my list, I am going to kill you with all of these tips. I'm totally putting together a review structure for the reviews. I think this is genius. And I think everyone should have it. And not just, by the way, for reviews, but like you said, why not do it for the testimonials as well? I think the biggest thing that stops people from doing something like this is because they don't want to be faced with a blank screen. We all hate blank screens, right? So then why not alleviate that? Why not take care of that? Why not give them something that actually allows them to sit and just pick up a template, a swipe, and do it? This is genius. Thank you so much, Selena. I want you to tell us and everyone about your programs and your offers. We know that your website is selenasoo.com, and we will link out to it, but also tell us about your other programs. And you need to do a course on this. I am this needs this, because I'm just thinking of, just something to put together the review structure, something to put together the perfect email for the reviews, how to structure it, how to get those. I think there is a mini course in this, dude. You have to do it.
Okay.
This is awesome. So please tell us about your course.
Yeah, sure. So my signature program is called Impacting Millions, which is all about helping amazing entrepreneurs spread their message in the world and get like crazy publicity. We've had people in the course like have no publicity and get articles on Business Insider, get featured in Oprah magazine. We had 2 people in Oprah magazine not too long ago. So it's pretty crazy stuff that happens in the group. So we launch once a year in March. So keep your eyes open for that. I will be running Facebook ads. Hopefully everybody will see them. And then, if they want to learn more about me, they can go to selenasoo.com and then /VIP video. So I have a video where I talk about, it's called Get VIP Access to Media Influencers and Online Stars. Yeah, and so I share a lot of personal stories about how I developed a relationship with my mentor, Ramit Sethi, how I got connected to Marie Forleo and Danielle Laporte and got endorsements from them. And I share a bit about how I do my influencer dinner parties. And so, it's really these relationships and these connections that for me have changed, my business in a big way. And that's what I help so many people do. So like my big focus is publicity, but then the second big focus is that networking and connection piece, which I really love to share. And it's so game changing because like the way that you show up and connect with each other, with other people is so important because every day we're connecting with new people. And when you just have these tweaks and like these shifts in your mindset and know how to do it the right way, it changes everything. So anyways, I have tons of stories to share and I hope that
you have an ultimate guide on that. Tell us about the ultimate guide and we'll link out.
Oh yeah. I also have ultimate guide to meeting people at events, because I think that, even though we live in this incredible virtual world, there is that power of meeting people in person. When I think about an event, as someone who has organized events myself, it's like the event organizer, the host, sometimes may have spent maybe even 9 months or a year planning the event, securing the incredible speakers, marketing, pushing out to, hundreds of thousands of people, and you get to show up and reap all the benefits. But then once you're there, it's like, how do you connect with people and you're not just getting a bunch of business cards and then you do nothing with them?
Yeah.
Because the right connections at these events can like change the trajectory of your business and, life. And so I teach people about that. So that's selenasoo.com/event guide. So the 2 links to check out are selenasoo.com/VIP video for my stories and, high level networking tips, and also some very actionable, actually, they're all very actionable because everything I do is actionable. And then also my guide for meeting people at events, selenasoo.com/event guide.
Thank you so much, Selena, for doing this. Thank you so much for taking the time. I love this. People love this. And I can't wait to implement all of this. You will see me implement this because
So the next time I get interviewed on this, I can be, well, like Bushra did this and this is what happened.
Yes.
Okay.
You will actually get to see that Bushra did this and got more reviews than she did.
Ooh, I love it.
No bribing required, hopefully. No taking off clothes required or posting new pictures required, any of that shit. But I will use all of these rules. Thank you so much, everyone. Guys, go check out Selena Soo. She is awesome. And we should all rally up to force her to start a course on getting reviews and testimonials because the world needs it. We need it. And even if it's a mini course, that's fine. But we definitely.
I'm really seriously thinking about this. Thank you.
You should be. Thank you so much, darling. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. You guys were phenomenal. Everyone was just stayed on throughout. You were. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow again because 30 days are still not over. I think I will die on this chair. But bye-bye. And I will see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.